Okay, this year some things are different. Not only can you access the formula sheet on TestNav electronically, you can ask for a paper copy. We are asking you to please ask for a paper copy, and there's a lot of reasons, and I'm going to go through them now. First of all, when you ask for a paper copy, you can mark out this perimeter formula here and just write add all sides, because that's the important thing about perimeter. You add all the sides. Now, if you have more than one shape put together, you only add the outsides. You do not add any of the interior sides. Okay? I would also cross out that square. Every square is a rectangle. Use LW as your formula. Your triangle right here is self-explanatory, but look at the hints they give you. Your height drops to a right angle, and whatever side that right angle drops to, that's your base. So make sure to pay attention to that. Also pay attention to that A. A is for area. If you're finding area and you're not using that formula, that's a problem. So make sure to look carefully. Next, we're going to look at circle formulas down here and semicircle formulas that I've typed in up here. I would suggest that you practice writing these formulas on your formula sheet or on your scratch paper, and even draw a semicircle, which I shouldn't be attempting to draw because I'm not good at it, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's a semicircle. That way, when you see it, your brain tells you, hey, I got to add something to the formula. All right, C stands for circumference. I like to say it stands for the crust of a pizza. That's the distance or the perimeter of a circle, or up here, it's the perimeter of a semicircle. Okay, right there. So if you're finding the distance around the circumference, the formula is 2 pi r. Just like if you're finding it for a semicircle, it's 1/2 times 2 pi r. But if you're finding the area of an entire circle, it's pi r squared. And if you're finding the area of a semicircle, it's 1/2 times pi r squared. Okay? The thing here is to look at this figure of a circle. The diameter starts at one end and goes all the way through the center to the other side. It can be this way, it can be this way, it doesn't matter, but it goes from one side to the other, passing through the center point. A radius is from the center out to the edge. So a radius is half your diameter. So be careful with that when you're doing problems, whether they're marked or whether they're stated. Make sure you're using the R and not the diameter. If they give you the diameter, simply type in your calculator R equals whatever the number they gave you for diameter divided by 2. Okay? Now let's look down here. This is a parallelogram. Both opposite sides are parallel to each other. Okay? And if you look right here, the height touches each base and makes a right angle. And then that's the sides that it touches are your bases. It doesn't matter which one is which, but in this case, you'll only need one of them, base times height. You come here, this is a trapezoid. Again, the height forms right angles at both the bases, and you'll need base 1 and base 2, but again, it doesn't matter which one you put first or second because you're adding them. And remember, you've got a 1/2 there. 1/2 times your height, parentheses, base 1 plus base 2. Definitely use Decimus for all of this. Type in the formula, then underneath that, you give it values for each variable. H equals B sub 1 equals B sub 2 equals. And to type B sub 1 and B sub 2, just type B and a 1, and it'll do it for you. So you don't even have to worry about it. And then to type a sub 2, just type the 2, and it'll put it in for you. Okay? Next, we have a formula that has nothing to do with area and everything to do with the sides lengths of a right triangle. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We know A and B form the right angle. They are the legs of a right triangle. And all the way across to C is the hypotenuse. Your hypotenuse will always be the longest. And when you do any kind of problem with a right triangle where they're finding side lengths, always check that before you go on. Is my hypotenuse the longest side? If not, go back and see what you may have done wrong. So for example, we have shortcuts that we have worked through and developed together with our students, with all of you. So you know that if you have a hypotenuse and one leg, and you're looking for the other one, you can type square root of whatever the number for the hypotenuse is squared minus the leg, however long it is, squared, and that'll give you the length of the other leg. If you're missing a hypotenuse, you type the square root of the length of the first leg squared plus the length of the second leg squared. So if I were you, I would take both of these things that I have typed in Desmos and I would write them right underneath this on my formula sheet, just like I would write add all sides for perimeter and the semicircle formulas. You can remember, I'm sure, to put 1/2 in front of the formulas to make it a semicircle, but if you write it, it might just give you that little bit of extra information you need to remember it. Okay? All right, next we're going to go to these formulas. So we're talking about a rectangular prism. We're talking about a cylinder, and we're talking about a square-based pyramid and a cone. It's interesting how they do these because a square-based pyramid goes with and is related to the rectangular prism, and the cylinder is related to the cone. All right, so let's talk about each one. Again, if you're looking for volume, how much it holds, you type in LWH. I would not use this formula. Although you need to know that big B is the area of the base. Okay? Surface area, how much wrapping paper it would take to cover this box, is 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. Remember, when you put these formulas in the calculator, you can type V equals LW H, and then of course tell it what those things are, just like in any other formula. L equals, W equals, H equals. But personally, I wouldn't type this. I would just do the formula. Only because then people make a mistake and they try to type SA equals, and the calculator will not do that because it's 2 letters. So I would just leave that out and type 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH, and of course, tell the calculator what those variables are. Make sure you're solving for the right thing. Okay, so double check that. With the cylinder again, you know that the volume is big B times H, but I would use this formula right here. Again, big B is the area of the base. The volume for a cylinder, pi r squared h, and here is the surface area formula. Be very careful when you're typing it in because there are a lot of places you could make mistakes. The volume of a square-based pyramid, you would use big B, the area of the base. Okay, so big B, we're remembering, is the area of the base. Do you see how big B has 2 loops to make it? That means you need 2 things to multiply by. Okay, so to find the area of the base, you find the measure of one side and multiply it by itself. That will give you the area of the base. Here with a cone, same thing. I would use the first formula, and I would use 1/3 pi r squared h. Be careful, just like the pyramid, to notice H comes down to a right angle. L, the slant height, goes down the side. Same with a cone. H, straight down to a right angle. L, the slant height, is on the side. And also be careful for that radius. If they give you a diameter, make sure to divide it by 2 to make it a radius. And of course, we did an entire sheet on the relationship here. It takes 3 of these pyramids filled with sand to fill the rectangular prism with the same height and base. It takes 3 of these cones filled with sand to fill the cylinder with the same height and base. Okay, so let's go on and see what we have next on the next page. Okay, here are all the abbreviations. Please look at these because they will be very helpful. Do not look at this. You do not use those approximate numbers for pi. Use the pi key on your calculator. You probably will not need these, and you probably won't need these, okay? But you will need to know that area is A. Big B is area of the base, okay? So big B equals side times side. Whatever the base side is, multiply by itself. Big B, the area of the base. C is circumference, or the crust of a circle, all the way around. P, little p, is perimeter. Add up all the sides. SA stands for surface area, and V stands for volume. Okay? I believe that's it, but we know you're going to do a great job.